Yo guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here, and we have some more new cards that were released by Mick Banterface for this mini set of the Hearthstone slash Starcraft crossover. First card we're going to be taking a look at is Lock On from the Taran. I keep saying Taran. That is Warrior Paladin Shaman, this being a Shaman only card, and that is a set a minion's health to 1. Your next Starship launch costs 2 less. So this is not the only time we've seen the Starship cost 2 less to launch. We saw that in the neutral 1 mana 1/3. Also a 1 mana, just set a minion's health to 1. Seems pretty good to me. The fact that it has the benefit of the launch being early means that we're probably going to see some more aggressive style Starship decks. To be honest, a lot of the Starship decks we're seeing now are fairly mid-range, if not very heavy control decks that rely on stuff like Hydration Station and things of that nature to keep reviving them and getting huge amounts of value. But now we're getting stuff to reduce the launch cost, bringing it down to potentially 1 if you play 2 of these, which launching a Starship for 1 mana, even if only it has 2 pieces, 3 seems like pretty good use of mana. So Lock On seems like a fairly good card. We do have also the other Starship piece for Shaman, right? Where it was like deal 1 damage to everything. So like I see you use Lock On, make it cost 1, summon the Starship. When the Starship comes out, right, it does 1 damage to everything. So for 4 mana, you're summoning the Starship and locking on and killing an opposing minion. So that seems pretty good to me, just looking at what we've got here and how it would synergize together. Looking at Starport, this is a 2 mana 2 durability location. Summon a 2/1 Starship piece with an effect when launched. Anything that's going to add pieces to your Starship to make it better. So you have the Starship when it launches later, which is good value because let's say you use this twice, so that's 4 2 in stats plus the effect of each of them, and then you're paying 2 mana for 2 2/1s, and each of those has an effect. This seems like really good value. It's a neutral location. If you're running a Starship deck with any of the Warrior, Paladin, Shaman, this seems like an auto include into that deck. It just seems really good. So taking a look at when you use the Starport, what it could possibly summon, one of them being the Viking. This is a 1 mana 2/1 mech Starship piece. When launched, gain 7 armor. Not one of my favorite effects here. Generally, you want your Starship to do something when it comes out, whether it's Rush, Divine Shield, have taunt, stuff like that, summon a copy of itself, or when it dies, summon more stuff. So getting is a pretty defensive, doesn't really do anything right away, and doesn't really affect the board when you do summon your Starship, because again, when you summon your Starship, you want things to happen. Moving to the next one, we have a 1 mana 2/1 the Liberator, which is again when this is launched, deal 2 damage to all enemies. So that's pretty much a heat wave. The 2 mana mage spell, deal 2 damage to everything on your opponent's side of the board, including their face. Looks a lot better than the card we just took a look at, just because it does something on the board and does damage to your opponent, which is exactly what you want when you spend mana to summon your Starship, which you've been working on all game. We have the Raven. It's a 1 mana 2/1 again mech Starship piece. When this is launched, gain 3 random bonus effects. So I'm assuming that means taunt, wind fury, lifesteal, rush, reborn, all of those inherent effects back in the past, you know, like amalgam level. So I'm assuming that's what this is. So this also seems pretty good because rush and lifesteal, very powerful, especially if you're, you know, got a juiced up Starship and you need to get some life back. We got a Banshee. When this is launched, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. Again, random enemy. This could be a minion. This could be their face. Seems good. It does something when you launch it that affects the board immediately. This hub card is looking pretty good. There's just like we get to add, like, it actually feels like we're building, like the Starships don't all do the same thing now. So every time you play Starship and then you do this every game, when you launch it, it's going to have ideally some sort of different effect that isn't exactly the same as the previous game you had just played, which I think is good. We have the Medevac. When this is launched, summon 2/2 Marines with taunt. So adding more stuff to the board and putting 4/4 in stats with taunt. And then we have a Marine here. It's the 2 mana 2/2 taunt. All of these seem pretty solid besides the first one where it's gained 7 armor. But maybe you're in a spot where like the Viking is actually, I think that's what it's called, right? The Viking. That, you know, it's good. I'm liking that location a lot. I'm liking the diversity that it brings, and definitely a very cool card. I'm liking it a lot. Moving on to Ghost. It's a 4 mana 6/2 and it's stealth. Battle Cry. If you're building a Starship, destroy the lowest cost card in your opponent's hand. Oh shit. Oh man. So this is just lowest cost card. So if you're playing against like a rogue, it's going to destroy like Shadow Steps and Preps If you're going against a control deck, you can maybe hit some AoE. 4 mana 6/2. I mean, obviously it's exceedingly weak, but it does have stealth. So ideally, this is probably going to be able to live. Unless your opponent has some board effect that gets through stealth, which isn't very common right now. I think this may actually be just a really insane card. It's a 4 mana card that removes a card from your opponent's hand. It's Disrupt. Right now, Disrupt is, in my opinion, we don't have a lot of it, and it's very good. I mean, even look at old, like, Mutanus was a 7 mana 4/4, for heaven's sake. And then whatever it ate, it got the stats, but you didn't know. You could eat a 1/1 or a 2/2, right? And you didn't even really play Mutanus for it to eat a big minion. You played it for simply just disruption. Just take a minion that's going to stop my opponent from doing some sort of synergetic thing to kill me, right? So Ghost destroying just whatever the lowest costing card is good. Obviously against aggro, it doesn't really do too much, but against any sort of like control or combo deck, I believe this does have a pretty severe impact, and it is not bad. So Ghost looking pretty good, and it's neutral. So Paladins are going to be able to play this, Warriors are going to be able to play this, and Shamans are going to be able to play Ghost, and 2 copies of them. Liftoff. We have a draw 2 Taran cards, summon a 2/1 Starship piece with an effect when launched. So this is going to summon, I'm assuming, one of the many of the 2/1 Starship pieces that we just covered. Draw 2 Taran. So it's a 3 mana draw 2, summon a 2/1. So you're getting to draw our Taran cards, which is good because obviously our deck, we want to draw the new stuff. The new stuff is good. Going to synergize with Starship pieces. We actually get to summon a Starship piece, and it's 3 mana. So obviously, like, not the most insane draw, but very good in my opinion. This seems like a very good card. Targeted draw, summon a minion synergizes for later stuff. So Liftoff probably going to be a staple, and most of the Starship obviously decks that come from Paladin, Warrior, and Shaman. I did not think we were going to get like a bunch of tiny, like little tiny Starship pieces. So like the Starport, getting a couple of those out and just making a whole bunch of 1 mana 2/1 Starship pieces, and then just discounting the Starship so it's 3. So you get like, you're gonna have like a 10/5 Starship on turn 5, right? Or just some, and then it's gonna like do all this just random shit when it comes out. Like, what if like the 10/5 and then like the random effect it gets from that one is like stealth? So they like put all these like little chip damage in, your opponent's at like 15-ish, and then it just rolls into stealth, so you have like a 10/5 stealth Starship. I see things happening with these tiny pieces and getting, instead of zerged down, it's mini Starship pieced down. Anyway, that's all the cards that we have from McBanterface today. Pretty exciting stuff here. Different direction than I thought they were going to take with the Starship. I wouldn't have guessed they would have done this, and it seems like it'll be pretty cool. So hopefully it ends up being as good as it is cool. And as always, looking forward to some more reviews. I'm assuming more are going to come out tomorrow. So with that, we'll take a look at those when they come. Appreciate you all watching, and I'll catch you in the next video, of course. I'm Robert Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.